All right. So I'm here with Josh Gitalis, who is a Practice Better customer. He is also a clinical nutritionist and functional medicine practitioner. So Josh, thank you for speaking with me today.
My pleasure.
Yeah, so we've spoken to Josh before. We have one of our practitioner spotlights with him, and we just wanted to give an update on where Josh is at in his business and how his practice has grown and how he's been using Practice Better as a tool to continue to fuel that growth. But for those of us who don't know you as well yet, Josh, who want to know you better, want to know you more, can you tell us a bit about yourself and your practice currently?
I'm a clinical nutritionist and functional medicine practitioner, and I split my time between my functional nutrition certification program, of which we've had over 45 people from over 45 different countries join us in our courses. We have a full certification program and also standalone courses. So that's been going on for a while. And then the other part of my time I spend in my clinical practice, where I work with people one-on-one through various health issues, complex health issues, oftentimes with those who have sought help from many other practitioners. So that's mostly what I've done. I studied kinesiology in university. Afterwards, I worked a little bit as a personal trainer and realized most people who were interested in working out weren't necessarily interested in working in. And the inside is what I was most interested in, what actually makes true health. So shortly after I became a personal trainer, I started studying and looking into nutrition. And that was kind of where it was at for me, understanding that nutrition from the dirt up is really what makes true health. I enrolled in nutrition school, got my diploma, and haven't looked back.
Oh my gosh, that's wonderful. You know what really got me for you, Josh, was what you said about working out versus working in. I'd love to hear a little bit more about that, because I'm sure a lot of other practitioners kind of resonate with that as they work with their clients and patients who might not be ready to do the working in.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of people in the fitness industry have various motivations for doing fitness. You know, there's a chunk of people who will definitely be doing it for longevity and health and understanding that's an important preventative measure. And then there's a big chunk of people who do it for vanity reasons, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but working with that population wasn't that interesting for me. That's not why I had gotten into personal training and coaching. I still remember one client who was a smoker and would show up to each session reeking of smoke. And my dialogue in my brain was, how can I talk about this during our session and try to get them or help them to not smoke anymore? Because I knew the risk factors of smoking, as most people do. So I feel like all these clients were messengers to me that you need to move on maybe and look into some other avenues if you truly want to understand what health is, what real health is. And that's not to say that you can't do that as a personal trainer or health coach or fitness coach. But at that point in time, I had not really found what I knew I was looking for.
Thank you for that. I know there's a lot of gems there. And Josh, I'm actually seeing that's kind of the beginning of the story of the evolution of your practice. So last time we spoke to you was in 2019, and a lot has happened since then. So I'd love to know kind of the update, because looking at your practice today, and you've got your certification program and then your practice, I'd love to know what's changed since we've last talked to you, how things evolved.
Yeah, in 2019, I had a bricks and mortar clinic. And most of my work with clients and of course my program that I teach was online already. I would say maybe about 20 to 30% of clients still came in person to my clinic location. So we were already transitioning quite a bit and had the systems in place to be able to do that in a seamless manner. So in 2021, I had the opportunity to move to a home office. We were moving our homes. So I was, a new space was available for me. And I was quite happy that I wouldn't have to pay rent anymore. I could just put that same money into my home. So in 2021, June of 2021, I moved my home and I also gave up my bricks and mortar and went 100% online. That transition was seamless. In part due to Practice Better and the amazing software that helps me manage my practice. And I'm not just saying that, that's 100% true. And it was a seamless transition and has been. I think the biggest challenge with that is just getting comfortable with working with people only through a camera, through online, through video, versus in person. You get to see a lot more nuances in person. And it's, we all know the feeling when you're with someone in person versus on video. So that took a little bit of adjustment. But other than that, it's been fantastic. It's given me a lot more freedom. I love working from home. I don't have to do the commute, although I used to bike most days to and from work. So I kind of miss that. But I have that time to still do exercise and other things that I really enjoy. So it's been only a good transition since 2021.
That's really good to hear, because I know for a lot of people, 2020 onward was kind of a time where they struggled and had to lift themselves up a bit. But you had all of your systems so well organized that it sounds like that transition was as seamless as one could expect from what you described. Yeah.
It wouldn't have been years ago when I first started out. I mean, thinking about how I practiced at the beginning, it was clunky, none of these online systems were available, these virtual systems like Practice Better, even things like FullScript, which offers an online dispensary. I mean, if you wanted to carry supplements, you were carrying the physical supplements and you had to deal with inventory and all the issues around that. We still have some inventory, but it's massively reduced. So today you can start a practice from anywhere in the world, not even have a physical location that you have to stick to, and still be extremely successful in the field, which is an amazing advancement with the technology.
That's fantastic. Josh, I'm going off script a little because I'm very curious, because you mentioned that you love working from home. Did you find that kind of natural barrier now that you were working from home exclusively? Did you find kind of that personal and professional life a little bit harder to impose a boundary on now that you didn't have a bricks and mortar business?
Not at all, actually. I think I'm quite good with boundaries, and I'm really, it's not a problem for me to know when it's my work time and when it's my play time or family time. But that's also changed quite a bit over the years. I mean, to give you a little bit of the history, when I was building my functional nutrition certification program and my continuing education courses, I was working evenings, weekends, every moment that I could find to work. There was always more time. And then we had a kid, and he's 6 years old now. But when you now have a child, someone to take care of, all of a sudden you don't have all the time in the world. You have very specific times that you can work and when you can't work. And my wife and I planned for that very, very intentionally, that we wanted to build our businesses. We wanted to build systems and have them in place before having a child. We had this ability that we took advantage of. And once we transition to having to take care of our son, we cut back on a lot of our hours on evenings and weekends. At first, actually, it felt quite uncomfortable to kind of change in your brain what that day represented. And there's kind of like a feeling tone for a weekday versus a weekend day, so you're changing that up. But the transition was fine, and it's worked out well, and our businesses have been able to continue working, I guess I would say, as an entrepreneur, business owner, more normal hours than you typically would when you're really building something.
There's a lot of really important nuggets in there, Josh, for people who are just starting out or who are evolving and growing in their business, maybe a few years behind where you are. So thank you Thank you for sharing what that transition was like for you. What I picked up on there was the fact that you've systematized part of your business. Would you say there's ways that you've systematized growth for your business? Are there any repeatable actions that you do in order to, or even actions that you've automated in order to continue to grow and see new clients and have new signups in your certification program?
Lots. I mean, there's so many areas that we've tried to automate and we're still always trying to refine. But one of my great kind of ways to get leads is to offer free things, which I think most people know about. One, I enjoy doing it immensely. So right now we're running a functional nutrition mastery series, which is 5 classes. We just finished the 3rd class. I'm not exactly sure when this will air, but people can sign up anytime, joshgitalis.com/mastery, and they will have access to all the recordings that have already taken place. We still have 2 classes. The next one is on making medicinal chocolate. The last one was on fasting. And then the last one yesterday actually was on fasting. And then our final one is going to be me and my wife, Megan, chatting in the garden about life and some of the lessons that we learned. So that should be a great one. But that's a great way to bring people into your world, to develop rapport, to show your level of knowledge, your teaching style, and just, offer your community a really great service and educational opportunity. So I've done many of those in different iterations over the years. I did a weekly show on Facebook a while back. I've done another masterclass. I've interviewed other professionals. And I think at this point, I've been doing this for 15 years. I've put myself out there in so many different ways. You just have to use everything that you have access to. Social media is an incredible lots to talk about there, free way to get yourself out there. So we use that to our advantage as well, but really just trying to use anything and everything to get your message out.
I would talk to you about your air quotes free for we could spend another few minutes talking about that, but you also had me at medicinal chocolate. That sounds delicious. That's a really wonderful way to get people to know, like, and trust you, right? To be able to connect with people in some of the things that you're doing. And the fact that you said, like, you just kept showing up. And I think that's a big challenge I think that is a big challenge for a lot of people, right? Because it feels uncomfortable and you have to keep doing it over and over again. So what advice would you give to burgeoning practitioners who are trying to grow their practice, who are, kind of afraid to keep showing up, or they're discouraged because social media used to be free and now, you're trying to post things organically and maybe you get 2 likes and things like that. Like, is the advice that you would give, has that changed over the years, or would you say it's still the same?
Yes and no. So a really important thing, which I teach my students as well and reveal to them, is that when I first started out, everything was extremely clunky and uncomfortable. You deal with a lot of discomfort. Am I doing the right thing? Am I making the right recommendation? How do I do my bookkeeping? How do I run a business? What should I use for booking people? I mean, the list goes on and on and on because it's new to you. You have to develop the skills of running a practice. And there was a lot of self-talk that happened to say, Josh, don't quit. Don't be discouraged. This is part of the process. As you progress and grow and learn more and more, you want to aim to do less of the areas where you're weak in and spend more time in your area of brilliance. So when you first start out, you're doing your bookkeeping, you're working with clients, right? You didn't become a nutritionist or a health practitioner to do bookkeeping. At some point, you're going to hire someone to do that for you. And then that's going to free up another chunk of time where you can do other things. And that's just one simple example. But that's how the process works. At one point, it was just me. Now I have an amazing assistant that's been with me for many, many years that does all that stuff that are not my areas of brilliance, that are her areas of brilliance. What I tell my students it's been my piece of advice for myself. It's been a piece of advice for my students and my clients. And it used to be on the wall in my old office. And that is the best way to get started is to get started. We overthink things. We get paralysis by analysis. We feel like imposter. We get imposter syndrome. But you just need to get started and to do that thing. Don't overthink it. It doesn't have to be right the first time. It doesn't even have to be right the second time. But as you do things and try things and develop and grow and refine, you will get closer and closer to something that feels really good. And that takes time.
And that's that state of flow, as you say, that comes when you work in your area of brilliance. I would call it zone of genius. That's a term that I've used, and I'd say we're probably getting at the same thing there. This, Josh, to me is the result of having worked with so many, both clients and people in your certification program for years now, right? For a long time, you've probably seen a lot of people go through and seen a lot of the same struggles and patterns over and over again, and probably seen a lot of really wonderful successes. So that's wonderful. So I'd love to know a couple more things. I'd love to know more of the nitty gritty when you're in your practice. How are you using some of the tools that are available to you? Obviously, you're running automated courses and programs. And then I saw meal plans also included in your courses. And I'd love to know how those things fit together to help you run your practice more efficiently.
The great thing about meal plans, we could speak to that specifically, and not just meal plans, but all the tools that you're using on a regular basis, the templates, the handouts, the forms, the meal plans, the diagrams. You have to do most of the work at the beginning, and then you have this in your database, right? So we have a full database of meal plans. Actually, we share a lot of this in the functional nutrition certification program. We just give it all to our students so that they can speed up their learning curve. So we have this database, and then when we have a client with a specific concern who needs a specific meal plan, we have that ready to go for them. We make any modifications that need to be made for that specific person, and then we have that all ready, which of course saves a lot of time. I've seen hundreds and hundreds of clients. We haven't never given two protocols that are the same. It just doesn't work that way. So there is always going to be a certain amount of work that's involved in personalizing that protocol. Over the years, I've refined that and gotten better at that to be able to do it more efficiently, but only up to a certain point. Beyond that, the quality of my partnership, of my recommendations start to go downhill, and I won't compromise that. So when you have your system in place and you can't outsource any of the tasks anymore, and you can't reduce the time anymore, you have to increase your rate. That's really the only option at that point. So that has increased over the years, but I will not and won't compromise on my current system that's in place. That now I've been using it for many, many years, and I'm very, very comfortable with it. We make maybe minor changes here and there over the years. And just, again, practice better is a huge, huge part of that. That has saved us a ton of time with the forms that are available, the forms that we can send beforehand, and then the intakes that I do go over with my clients, sharing files, messaging with each other, and just having that as a platform to have as a common space to be able to do that all.
That's fantastic. I know I've said that's fantastic so many times, but it's really so lovely to be able to talk to someone like yourself who's done a lot of the work up front, made a lot of those common mistakes in your practice, and then evolve, right? Go from working every hour of the week to having your Monday to Friday, more of a 9 to 5, to be able to spend time with your family, and then watching all the while upholding that same kind of standard of care that you want to provide to your clients. And so that's really lovely to hear. Thanks, Josh. So as we wrap up, tell us about your program. What do you want the Practice Better community to know about your functional medicine certification?
Yeah, so it's a functional nutrition certification program. It is the program I wish I had when I graduated nutrition school. So it is actually one of the continuing education courses that I taught when I became a teacher at the school that I went to. The first one was therapeutic nutrition and supplements in practice. And then the next one was applied nutrition and clinical practice. But I slowly developed this program based on what I knew I wish I would have had and what students were asking me on a regular basis, right? So we have a course on hormones, detoxification, digestion. We now have in the advanced level opportunities to work one-on-one with me, to sit in with client consultations. We also do debriefings with that to really refine and develop your skills. I mean, one of the most important things I think for me to really gain confidence was mentorship. And I just took it upon myself. I thought, hey, I want to do it. I think that practitioner is doing a great job. I'm going to book an hour of their time. I'll just pay them whatever they ask for. And I would do that over and over again with different practitioners until I felt really comfortable doing it myself and having the Josh system. It's not actually called the Josh system, but the Josh system. So I offer mentorship as part of the program as well in the advanced level. We have 3 levels based on your interest. We have all the way from like just for health enthusiasts to levels that are more geared towards practitioners, people that are working one-on-one. And usually we have a cohort starting always in September and sometimes in January. We're not sure this year if we're going to have a January cohort, but my courses are also standalones as well. So if you want to check out my teaching style, if there's a particular topic you're interested, you can just choose one course, start there, and always upgrade to the full program.
Great. And where can we find this wonderful program if we wanted to sign up?
All right, so everything can be found at joshgitalis.com. You can find the link there to the program. Or if you want to go directly there, you can go to functionalnutrition.ca.
Thank you. That's great.
And again, I'm not sure when this is going to air, but yeah. We just launched our new website today.
Oh, congratulations.
So thank you. So we've got a really, really amazing learning center platform for our students now. We're just in the process, of course, of transitioning everyone, but it's like next level. So it's super simple to use. It's going to be a fun user experience. And it's just, there's so many great features about it.
I love a good website launch.
I feel like when you launch a new website, you think that other people care, but they don't really. You're really the one that cares the most because you know what it was like before and after, but everyone's just like, oh, I didn't even know you have a new website. But it was important. When you're embarrassed about your picture on your main website, that it's time to make a new one, right? We all know when we've seen like bio pictures and you're like, wait a moment, that's their picture from like 30 years ago.
You want your website these days is your business card, right? You want to present the best version of yourself to the internet, especially when you're working with people from 45 plus different countries. So
well said, Hillary. Well said.
Yeah. So I hear you. Okay, Josh, thank you. There's a lot of really wonderful nuggets and information for people and ways to work with you, which is really very exciting. And we hopefully will catch up in another 4 years, see where you're at then. And in the meantime, good luck with the rest of your practice and your programs.
Thank you so much. It was great speaking with you today.